Hey, welcome drivers. Top of the day to you. We are so glad you're here with us today for this accident prevention training because TLC offers some great benefits, including some training that's really going to help you in your profession to prevent accidents and therefore also prevent you from being injured. Now this is produced on both a DVD and a CD. So whether you're watching us or whether you're just listening to us, we have some very, very important information to get to you on some slides and through some instruction that we offer you through this training. Now, I always wanted to become a comedian, but I was just afraid people would laugh at me. So what did I do? I got into the safety profession 33 years ago, and I started in manufacturing and construction, but the last 14 years have been in transportation. And I enjoy it. I enjoy you because you're a professional driver. And I also enjoy everybody in the transportation industry, including the mechanics, warehouse people, all the people out in the yard, and even those people just like dispatchers or people aimlessly wandering around just trying to prevent themselves from having an injury. I mean, where are these people? They're you. They're you, and this is what it's all about. So let's talk a little bit about the TLC companies and what we have to offer here. This is a very unique training experience. We don't talk about compliance because there are so many companies that do that. What we're talking about is accident prevention, and that's a very unique experience. The likelihood of you, a driver, getting injured is more than 10 to 1. 10 to 1. In a 20-year career, you're probably going to be injured 2, 3, 4 times, and you're going to be off work at least 2 or 3 of those times for a week or more, and you might be out for a long time because of a serious injury. And that's what we're here today to prevent that. Now let's keep in mind, there's cause versus effect. We're here to instruct you and talk to you about the cause, because the cause is a prevention. The result is fortuitous. If you slip and fall, that's the cause. The result, whether you have a head contusion, whether you have an elbow injury, whether you strain your ankle, that's all part of the injury, and we don't know what's going to happen. So we're going to be focusing on the causes. And then let's talk a little bit about near misses versus an injury. Every day, probably 3, 4, 5 times today, you might have had a near miss. Whether you just rolled through a stop sign, whether you lifted something incorrectly, or you almost slipped and fell getting out of your vehicle just to make it to the yard, whatever. That's a near miss. But if you actually get hurt, that's an injury. And the reason people are so unsafe is because most of the time when they make a mistake and do something wrong, they do not get hurt. Did you know that? You do not get hurt most of the time, but when you do get hurt, you definitely know about it, don't you? And you think about it, and the difference between a near miss and a fatality could be a half a second or a half an inch. Just think about that car that buzzed by you that went across the median and you just missed. How about that? That might have been a half a second that saved your life, or that saved their life because they crossed the median. And then we get into the unsafe acts and unsafe conditions. Only 2 things cause accidents, or a combination of them, and that's unsafe acts, unsafe conditions. About 88% of all accidents are caused by unsafe acts, about 10% from unsafe conditions. So what's the other 2%? Those are acts of God, or they're natural phenomenon like tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, or possibly wildfires. Sometimes you can't escape those things. But let's just focus on the unsafe actions. That's the area that means the most to us, and it's usually in a combination with unsafe conditions. And there's a bunch of these up here, so I'm just going to review some of these with you. However, these are at-risk behaviors because anytime you do one of these items or multiple items of these, you have a chance of having an injury. Doesn't that make sense? Well, how about not using personal protective equipment? Good work boots. Tim later on is going to talk about that for slip, trips, and falls. Failing to recognize and identify danger, failure to secure equipment, twisting instead of pivoting. I'm going to show you that technique a little bit later on in this presentation. Lifting improperly, improper work positions, operating without authority, reaching too far, working too fast, engaging in horseplay, in other words, screwing around. Do you screw around? You'll get hurt if you screw around too much. Not using correct equipment or mechanical devices like a forklift or a pallet jack versus lifting and moving things manually. Then using equipment improperly. People do that all the time. And then not following safe procedures established by TLC and by your company. Then making safe devices inoperable. And basically, one last one, just doing dumb stuff. Everybody does dumb stuff, right? You're no exception to that. You do dumb stuff too. I do dumb stuff all the time. Hopefully I don't get hurt. Hopefully you don't get hurt when you do dumb stuff. Now there are 3 types of injuries that are most significant at TLC and the whole focus of this training, period. We got slip, trips, and falls. We had 147 of those in 2012. That's 27% of all injuries. Material handling, which is a variety of circumstances, everything from struck by, struck against, lift, push, pull, overexertion. It's just amazing the amount of injuries that come from material handling. 47%, almost 1 out of every 2 injuries from that. And then motor vehicle accidents, and Tammy will talk about that a little bit later in this presentation, and that's 17%. Well, if you add those up, that's 496 injuries come from 91% of the injuries total that we have. So why are we focusing on that? Because we're focusing on the 91%, the most important part of that. Now, just to wrap this up, why are we even having this training? I mean, why are we having it? We're producing a DVD and CDs to you, the company, and the drivers for orientation. We'd like every driver to experience this orientation. Second, for about a 1-hour periodic training, because this is about 1 hour, but then it could be broken up into 15-minute segments. I mean, I'm talking to you for about 8 minutes here on the introduction, but the 3 segments on slip, trips, and falls, material handling, and motor vehicle accidents are about 15-minute segments. Use it as refresher training, and then also, and very important, use it as training after an accident or a resulting injury occurs. Well, drivers, we respect you. We think you're the greatest. God bless you. Say a prayer every day before you get out on that road, and really pay attention to the training ahead, because this is more of an introduction. However, the next thing you're going to hear is some music, and then Tim's going to come on. Tim Hacht, he's one of our safety professionals, to talk to you a little bit about slip, trips, and falls. Thank you, drivers.